This is the final assignment for sports analysis. It's only P5 criteria. I'll just walk you through what you need to do. So if we just get onto task 1 straight away, what we can see is that you need to research a wide range of methods of sports analysis. Okay, the best way to do it is, if I was to get a Word document, I'll show you how I would lay it out. Let's go File, New. So first of all, you need to pick your 2 levels of performance. So we would go foundation level, which is almost grassroots, and then we think about the purpose of analysis at this level. Okay, so things you might want to consider: fitness testing, very basic levels of fitness tests. You might want to consider talent identification in terms of at this level, maybe a club coach might recognise a player and they might recommend them onto the county level, and it might be just to highlight players' technical strengths and areas for improvement. And then there might be some other purposes as well, and you need to explain these purposes. So explain why these purposes are associated to grassroots level. You then need to talk about the resources available to carry out the analysis at this level. So for instance, fitness testing, very basic equipment, and you need to explain this. Why is the equipment basic? So why have you only got stopwatches, cones at this level? In terms of talent identification, what have you got? Have you got scouts? No, you don't have scouts at this level, so it's about coaches, and usually the coaches at this level are volunteers, so they have limited time to be able to go and watch players or to do this kind of process. And then if you look at the highlight players' technical strengths and areas for improvement, you might do some observational analysis as a coach. So you might, when your players are playing on a Sunday in a Sunday league game, for instance, you might just do some notational analysis or give them some feedback on what you've observed. So it's very, very basic at this level. What we then need to do is look at a comparative level, so elite level, i.e. Premier League, and then you need to think about the purpose of analysis at Premier League level. And things, you'd be thinking of fitness testing, but scientific testing. So let's call it scientific fitness and physiological testing. We'd be talking about squad rotation. So we do analysis to be able to understand why we rotate our squad. So if you think about Man United now, probably Jose Mourinho is looking at the fitness levels based on their GPS tracker and their output data and thinking, right, I need to rotate that player because they're tiring. And then we might think about squad selection. And again, talent identification. And so here, scientific testing, you might do a variety of different tests like force plates to be able to understand the power output from the legs. We might do things like Douglas bag testing to check the gases that are expelled. We might do some VO2 max testing. We might test them in different climates, different altitudes in labs. In terms of squad rotation, the purpose of analysis might be to understand the levels of fitness of your players and where they're currently at in the season, and if they're not functioning at 100%, although you can notice that their fitness levels are dropping off, it's about using that analysis data to rotate your squad accordingly to make sure you've got the best squad possible. Squad selection, you might get, so Prozone, you might get a load of data from matches on the 12 cameras. brings down the data, and then you might think, well, actually, I'm going to play this player because actually they had the most successful pass rate in the last game, which means that we can retain the ball and have a positive impact on the game. You also might use the Prozone system because it pulls down into a database. Use it on scouting players. So you look for a player you're about to buy, you think about all the data that you've got, and you compare it to what you've currently got. So this player actually is better than the player I've currently got because this data shows it, and then I might make a purchase off the back of that. The resources, you need to consider what resources you would have at a club at this level to complete analysis, why it's different to grassroots. So you could talk about GPS trackers and how they're used and how effective they are, talk about full-time coaches and how they're used to complete analysis, talk about things like force plates, Douglas bags, climate chambers. You could even talk about hyperbaric chambers, which is about, actually, it's another purpose, rehabilitation. So hyperbaric chambers in terms of oxygen tanks and how they're used to kind of support and aid the injury recovery process and speed up that injury recovery process. So that's this assignment. So P5 only. You need to explain the purpose at foundation level of analysis and the resources, and then you need to explain the purpose of analysis at elite level and the resources associated to it. Thank you.